get a triple, he just get a kill on his own teammate, but it doesn't really matter right now. Just still go, and he finds 3 as well.
Might do the smoke and finds 2. That might just be a free use finest. Disgusting from Dragons. Lovely stuff from Sergio. Oh my god. Saki, TJ, and Breaker, you'll go back to the respawn team. Oh my god, Breaker finds 3. TJ just finds 3 massive kills for his team.
Good evening, Gears fans, and welcome to the Gears Pro League here in Europe. My name is Ton, and I'm here with Fru once again. How many weeks is this now? This is the 10th overall week, I think, that we've done this.
Double digits.
I know, mate, we're in a double digits.
Good
job. Do you want a high five?
Yeah, we actually managed it as well.
I'm happy that we didn't mess that up because it could have been bad. But we're in week number 4 here on the winter quarter. Of course, everybody's already played each other once, so we go back into the round robin. Everybody plays each other twice across the whole season, and we're back into it. The exact same games we played last week, so we just flip it on its head, and we go back in the opposite direction. Of course, we do have Obey Alliance and the EU Finest going up against each other first, and then Riga Reserve against Rated. Last week was interesting.
Yes,
I think.
I mean, we expected a close game. We expected a pretty one-sided game,
and we got that.
We just got in the wrong way round, right? I mean, we expected this matchup to be a bit one-sided, and Obey came out and had a fantastic game. Likewise, on the other side of things, Rated R, they just demolished Regal Reserve.
Oh yeah. Tore them apart completely. Let's have a look at the stats from week number 3 to give you a picture of how that one happened, because mostly it was Dragons at 4.69 KDA, 61 eliminations and 13 deaths over 2 maps and 10 rounds. Is pretty good. It's pretty good for that. I mean, what, on average 6 kills a round?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty insane.
And yeah, that's so far ahead of the kind of league average for KDA it was insane. Obviously, come out MVP of the week, no doubt. And had a fantastic series for sure. We're looking to replicate that today.
Yeah, if he plays the same way, then Riga Reserve are going to be in trouble, of course. But on the other side of things, you know, EU's Finest against Obey Alliance was a bit of a closer affair than we would have expected. But let's have a look at the table, because it is actually Obey Alliance sitting at rock bottom right now. They will probably feel a bit bummed out by that, has to be said.
I don't think it represents...
Yeah, you're into the second half of the season now.
Yep.
If they can get some results, which I think they probably could, you know, they've had close games across the board, then they will climb up that pretty quick.
Yeah, you got to look at this as, you know, they've had many around 9 now.
Yeah.
Last week against EU's Finest, they could have closed it out. They were 4-2 up in the second map. And, you know, they could have gone on to a map 3 and maybe had the momentum to win there. They had 2 round 9s against Regal Reserve when they played them and looked pretty strong in both those games. It's kind of just fallen a bit unluckily for Obey these last couple of weeks. Obviously against Radar it was a different affair, but 2 out of the 3 they had chances to win, or at least, you know, be very, very competent in. So yeah, it doesn't do them a favor sitting down at the bottom there. Honestly, out of the 4 teams, they're not the weakest one for me.
Who do you think that is?
Right now, it's got to be Regal Reserve.
After last week, it will be hard to argue against that, I suppose.
Yeah, they've just, you know, they had a good win, but the 2 times they've lost now, they've just looked pretty poor, to be honest with you.
Past 2 weeks, haven't they? They've looked really bad.
And I'm looking for them to improve today. That's something that I hope to see from them, because they were not at level last week.
Yeah.
This week, new week. Hopefully that's something they brought to the table.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see how they do, of course, against right now in the second game, but let's concentrate on EU's Finest against Obey Alliance. Now, as we said, last week it was a pretty close game, and that did catch us off guard, but Obey Alliance seemed to have something in them. That's the thing. I think that's why we're sort of saying that they could be the team that are up there. But closing out round number 9s is not something they have right now. If they can get that clutch factor in there, then, you know, maybe they can get something going. I mean, I was speaking to Saki through the week, and he's somebody who said, you know, so close but so far. We were having a private conversation. He says it feels like they just flick a switch at times. When they're down, they just suddenly turn it on, and they can just not be beaten the EU's Finest in those scenarios. But Obey Alliance do have it in them to do it, I feel, this week. Maybe change the map pools around, you know.
Maybe like the bunker pick, you know, we thought maybe, okay, this is not going to be good for Obey, but they came out, you know, they were slaying very, very well.
Yeah.
Honestly, the loss came through a mistake on Obey's part rather than a good play on EU's Finest's part, with Jack just managed to get that ring break right in that round 9. And they looked very, very good. I wouldn't, you know, go away disappointed from that performance. If you can replicate that today, maybe just get that closure that you've been looking for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, if they can start closing, if they can start closing games out, they could be 2-1 at this point. Let's be honest. But let's talk about EU's Finest, who have looked very, very strong throughout the whole of the Pro League. I mean, you know, outside of a couple of results here and there, this season they have impressed me more than they did in season number 1. I think that they have looked at times, as we were saying, what Saki said, they just seem to flick a switch when the backs are against the wall, and then just win round after round after round. They just seem to have that clutch factor. Their all-round game is fantastic. Every single one of them has their moments as well. You know, it's not just all being carried by one player or anything. Every single one of this team have it in them to come up clutch plays.
Yeah, I mean, we went into the fourth quarter expecting them to go unbeaten.
Yep.
You know, they stumbled at the first hurdle there. This quarter, though, they've looked a lot better for me as well.
Yep.
I think that man in the middle there, Crimson's, has been performing fantastically the last 3 weeks. And if he continues to play how he is playing, you know, he's up there in terms of KDA. He's got, I think, the least deaths in the league. His objective play is ridiculously high. Like, he's just doing everything for his team. Craze as well, backing him up. I think this is a fantastic squad. And hopefully going to Mexico, they can continue that momentum, because that was the question last time.
That's it, isn't it?
Can they continue it into that major? The answer was no last time, but this is a better squad for me right now.
Ultimately, that is what they'll be looking towards. They'll be in these Pro League games. I see they're scrimming against Rated R quite a lot as well, so obviously seeing them as a good team too. I mean, they wouldn't be scrimming against them, but I just think as if the next step for them is to go and have another good major. Like we've seen them last year across the whole of Gears of War season, where Gears of War 4 season is when they were, you know, up there consistently, and you know, that was when really Europe got behind them. It was one of the first times I was watching, just getting so excited about European Gears for probably the first time in quite some time, it has to be said. But let's have a look at this matchup though. Let's have a look how these two guys fared up against each other last time. Of course, that was just last week, but of course here at EGL we're like a stat. We do like a stat, and I know you guys at home enjoy them too. So this is how things did match up last week when these two teams did play. Anything jumping out at you here, Fru?
Nothing.
In particular for me, I mean, the 3.4 KDA from Crimson Zone was good, but how close those maps were is what was really standing out for me.
It stands out, but, you know, as I said, Obey had a good performance, EU's Finest had a good performance, and they matched up very well. Breaker up there with the, you know, a very good KDA. He was someone we were asking to step up from the previous 2 weeks. He did that. In terms of the deaths, Obey, they kept it kind of in the bag. You can see it's pretty much even across the board. And in the end, it was Crimson's, that kind of clutch factor there. You see him leading the way. 4 of the, joint 4, I guess, with Phelpsy, but 4 of the categories, you know, he's leading the way there for EU's Finest. The bunker pick was good for Obey. Vaskar, they performed well on that as well. Let's not count that one out, because it was pretty close. There were some rounds that could have gone either way. In the end, EU's Finest did come out. They did slay out, but yeah, I think this is a very good representation of how close that game was last week. That series was.
I think that's fair. I think I'm unsure whether we will see much of a difference in the picks and bans. I know I actually noticed I got them sent to me, but I didn't actually have a proper look at them. Okay. So I'm intrigued to see where they've went with them. Just whether they've kept it relatively similar, or whether they have sort of set themselves right. Okay, this was the reason. Let's find out. So District and Exhibit's gone. Same maps, exact same maps, and it's just a different order. So
yeah, we're just switching Vaskar there, right, with Bunker.
If you're Obey, you've picked Bunker this time around, so you feel good about that once again. Fair enough. Vaskar coming in for EU's Finest once again. So, Icebound coming in for EU's Finest before we see Vaskar, I should say. So exact same maps, but different order. Of course, this time around we will see Icebound, so that'll give a good indication to see where these two teams are on this map as well. Other than that, though, no surprises. You know, we're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting adaptation there from EU's Finest to go for the Icebound pick when Vaskar was left open. They won it last week, but perhaps not as confident on that now that they've had that 5-3 game, that close game. But in the end, it went through in the end. Obey picked it, so they must be confident as well, making some adjustments from last week. It'd be an interesting map pool, definitely.
I think the thing is for Obey that they look at both the maps they lost on last week and haven't got rid of either one of them, so they're obviously feeling confident on it. You know, you will be happy enough with that. So it's interesting. I'm curious to see which way this one goes. We were talking about this before the show. I think it's either going to be much closer, and I think Obey will nick a map, or EU's Finest is going to blow them out the water. One of the two. I don't see it going in a different direction. I just think that EU's Finest, when they do turn it on, are pretty unstoppable.
Yeah. That's the thing,
If they have another lackadaisical game and Obey play well, we could go the distance.
Yeah, it depends if they've had their coffee. If they've woken up.
I've got mine.
And you've had yours, we've had ours. And if EU's Finest have had theirs, then it could get away from Obey.
Yeah.
But if it's as it was last week, I can see Obey taking a map here. I think Icebound's going to be an interesting one to see them match up on, but we know Bunker's close. Icebound's a map that Obey had decent performance on last quarter.
EU's Finest to be mixed. They've had some close games on that.
They lost against Rated R on it as well. So
exactly. So there's some close moments in that one.
They're not infallible on it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely. But let's have a look at our matchup for this game. The key battle between these two teams, we do believe it will be between Crimsons and Saki. Now, Saki's KD obviously is not close to Crimson's at this moment in time, but Saki is a guy who has been playing well across the board so far this season, to a point. Obviously, this team are 0-3 in the league right now, so you can take that with a pinch of salt, but he hasn't been playing too bad at all. So if he can keep up to a point with these guys and keep up with Crimson's, they do have a shot at trying to do something here for.
Yeah, and for me, it's the objective play. That's why I'm highlighting these two guys. They are number 1, number 2 in the global, not the global, the European leaderboard. Maybe global as well, we'll see. But
some would say the best leaderboard.
I think so. And yeah, Crimson's 9 caps, 10 caps. Saki, 10 caps as well. I mean, they're very, very similar in terms of how they play the map, what they prioritize, and they both prioritize these objectives. They're up there with the slaying as well. Crimson's has a slight edge, but if Saki was on EU's finest, maybe Saki would have had quite a slight edge as well. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be an interesting battle, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see which way this one goes. We will be loading in very, very shortly. I can just keep an eye on that one. So I think the maps, obviously, for all that we talk about, they're positive for OB because we've seen them push the EU's finest close. Let's not forget was the term I was going for. Words are quite difficult today.
I thought you had your coffee.
Well, it's still clearly going through my system. Yeah. Let's not forget that it was actually EU's finest who did win those maps. True. So there is always that caveat.
Yeah, we got to look at this as, yes, OB had a very good game. EU's finest, though, they have that clutch factor. They came back, they won it. They looked down and out. They looked beaten. And every time they get in that situation, they come back and they surprise us once again. Yeah. And it's so difficult to...
But it doesn't surprise me, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, even when OB were up 4-2 last week, I was like,
maybe they're probably going to win. Yeah. Well, we'll see a reverse sweep here. And I think that's probably maybe the biggest reverse sweep. I'm not going to put that out officially, but it feels possibly like one of the biggest kind of...
At least this quarter, I would say.
Definitely this quarter. That we've seen in the Pro League. And as you said, it doesn't feel surprising.
No.
And that's the caliber that EU's finest bring, right? They're a very good team, and you can't count them out even at 4-2 down.
I just need them to bring it to LAN next time, all right?
Yeah.
I need you guys in Mexico to cause some issues because we know how good of a team they are. We've watched them week in, week out. We know how solid this roster is. Can they do something? Of course, we want the whole of EU to do well. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rated R in Mexico, actually, if they continue playing the way they play, because those guys are insane. But irrelevant of that, let's talk about the maps here. Bunker, Icebound, Vazca is what we got coming up. Predictions through. I know it's a hard one, in all fairness. I think in weeks gone by, this will be feeling easy, but with how last week went, I'm struggling to see which way it goes. I mean, I am and I'm not. I think, obviously, if you're a betting man, you go with EU's finest. But at the same time, I think there is potential for OB Alliance to cause an upset.
I agree. I think there's potential, but you got to look at the history here. OB yet to win a map. EU's finest yet to lose one. I can't go with anything other than a 2-0 right now, purely based upon how we've seen both of these teams kind of close out games. I don't know if OB have got the bottle to bring it through. And against EU's finest, you need it. Simple as that.
So you're sitting on the fence is what we're saying?
Sitting on the fence, but I'm going to go 2-0.
You're going to go 2-0, right, okay.
EU's finest.
I'm going to say 2-1 EU's finest.
You think they're going to... Their first map is going to be against an undefeated EU's finest?
Yep.
It's bold. I like it.
I'm a bold kind of guy.
I like it.
What can I say?
Which map?
I think you take Bunker.
I'm going to take Bunker. Few adaptations from last week. Don't let Jack clutch up at the end.
Yeah,
I can see that.
They should have won it last week. They should have won it last week, and they will know that. So, let's get into it. We are going over towards Bunker. EU's finest against OB Alliance. We're going to kick things off with Jack here. So, he was the guy that really ended up clutching up for his team last week. And he had to, but OB Alliance really led him, if anything. And it is going to be this big fight up top once again. Jack is the first engagement that is going to be there. How these first gunfights going to roll out. It's going to be Phelps finding J-Rage in the middle, but mostly going towards EU's finest. No surprises there. Ashens and Breaker dropping. That's the first amount of control going over towards EU's finest.
Yep, Crazed already managing to get himself a 3-piece, but Saki, he's done well. He's managed to get behind here. I tell a lie, I'm on the complete wrong side. Saki's defending his home hill very, very hurriedly.
Saki's trying to stay alive.
Yeah, as he waits for his team to come off. It's early.
Yeah, EU's finest left seam. That's what's allowed them so much room over towards the safe side. Here come OB Alliance. It is a 2v4 inside of the bunker here. Phelps is going to go down. They have to jump on towards it. They are going to be able to survive. The EU's finest putting on the pressure instantly there. And that just comes down to a couple of gunfights in the middle of the map, and then suddenly backs against the wall. Now if you're OB, you need a clean break towards B or C. Looks as if they're going for top control here through, something we see adapted quite often. Yep,
definitely so. And it's kind of a trait of OB that they push very, very heavily up top here. They do like to really be aggressive and try and play the home side. Great shot there by Ashens. Looking for his second as well. Isn't able to clean. Does get the down on Phelps. He does get the kill.
Nicely done.
This is Obey. They're cleaning up now. They do have one more COG member in their sights. It's Jackfex. Jack's going to do his best to replicate what Saki just did and try and just buy some time for his team here.
Nicely done. Ashens is somebody who has impressed me since he came on this Obey Alliance team. Definitely putting up numbers where he needs to. Andrew's going to have to put up quite a few here himself to stop EU's Finest losing this round, just trying to stay alive as best he can. It's a really nice rotation over towards A. We can already see he's going to have company over there as well, and that is in the form of Crimsons. They will break A, so a really nice rotational play out of EU's Finest. Was looking like an Obey round there after a couple of kills went in their direction, but elongated out round number 1. So usually we see these done and dusted pretty shortly, but a very close moment. It is Obey Alliance with the win condition of 60 seconds or so.
Both teams really just playing the opposing team's home, the spawn. And Obey, they're going to get pinched here. This is a bit of an overstay, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they had the chance to come back and make this move themselves. They had to use Finest push back into their own spawn. TJ was coming off their spawn as well, so they could have made that same play, gone back, had a 4v2 on their own home hill, but instead they tried to stay. They've been punished for it pretty heavily now, and they're probably going to lose B hill if Saki can't do anything about it. He's holding this jump up, but he's going to go down very, very quickly. Hydron's going to clean that one.
Are they going to be able to get over towards A in time? It isn't looking that way, or will they just about get there? Not quite. And that is, I mean, I don't want to say it's a mistake. It feels like a mistake. Yeah.
TJ came off spawn.
Yeah.
Home hill was empty.
I think, you know, in that scenario, I would have liked to see them back it up, get control of top mid, or just rotate over towards B. We know that they're going to have to come off spawn and get their home hill use Finest. So just leave them to it. You don't need to. In that scenario, they've went to go and push and slay against the use Finest with not much benefit. Even if they found all the kills, yes, okay, they might have won the round, but it's the risk for your reward. The risk was not worth it in the end. EU's Finest 1-0 now.
Yeah, exactly. So, and even if they do get those kills, you turn around, you've got the two members rotating across the top of the bunker to come and fight you. By the time you've dealt with that fight, everyone else is back off spawn again. So you kind of just ping-ponging between two different fights, and you know you've got to win 3 team fights then against EU's Finest in a row. It's a difficult task for any team.
It was the fact that Hydro then pushes up top bunker and gets a, albeit not many shots down with the Lancer, it's enough to add the extra damage in there. You're getting pinched from 2 different directions. It's never a good position to be in, and suddenly the round is kaput.
Yep. Obey doing well up top now. They were fighting with a disadvantage. EU's Finest, they've rotated around to B hill. They're going to try and take this neutral, but good Lancer angle from Ashens. If he manages to get this down, could be helping his team out. Breaker does go down, though.
It's a big fight over towards A, actually. It's a 1v1 for this hill by the looks of things. And
Craze is going to pick that one up, no surprise.
No surprises
Phelpsy
there
back in support as well. Now Jack in a bit of a bad spot. See if he can get himself out of here. He's going to back off.
If they use Finest to get control of B, and their home hill, of course, at A, and they don't really lose anything for it. Sort of unchallenged to a point. Yes, our B Alliance do have control of up top, but no power weapons in play, so you really are just going to have to be the ones that have to be proactive here. They have to sort of make the decision of which way they want to dictate this map, because EU's Finest quite happy to set up that line over A and B. We can see, though, Obey Alliance do seem to be making their way over towards B.
That they are. Just going to take a little bit of high ground, try and force Hydron to move about a little bit. Same with Crimsons. Can't really get good shots on Hydron from up there. There's a little bit of metal.
Yeah, you might be able to tickle him, but that's just about it.
Yeah, you get a flashbang in there, or you know, something just basically to try and make him move a little bit as your team pushes up. But right now, Obey, they've got a kind of calculated push here. Looks like the flash is going to be on Crimsons.
Flash goes in, but there is members of EU's Finest in and around B. Obey do push on through. They're at least going to get the decap here. J-Rage pushes forward as well. And they've just forced them away. EU's Finest back on down. They know they have the lead. They know they have the skill to retake this one as well. They'll probably posture on this and make a decision on what to do. But keep an eye on the minimap in the top right corner. Number 4, number 2 from EU's Finest. That's Craze and Phelpsy. Standing up top, ready to make a rotation in whichever way they deem necessary. Crimson's in Phelpsy, though, combining well. TJ will drop. The shots have gone come in. Crimson snaps onto J-Rage, who gets caught napping, coming around the corner. And there's only Breaker and Saki able to answer back. Crimson's keeps on going, though. And we've said that he's one of the best players in the league at the moment. He's not missing shots here through. And that's an elimination coming through in the blink of an eye for EU's Finest. 2-0 now against Obey. And the floodgates just opened.
That's it. 1 down. That's all it was. TJ ended up getting taken down. Not even taken out, taken down, and that was all they needed. EU's Finest pounced on it. Crimson's coming out, beautiful triple kill, and that is the player we've highlighted in this head-to-head. He's had a fantastic season so far, and just continuing it here against Obey. This is why they are so good. Flick of a switch, and that's it. An elimination victory. easy as they can.
Shot grenades down either side. No surprises there. Wonder if Obey maybe mix this one up. They've been 2 close rounds in the end, though. Has to be said, it's come down to a couple of decisions here and there, a couple of gunfights here and there.
Obey, they had the opportunity to win that fight. They had it down. They had it down on their own team as well, but they opted to try and fight and push.
They always look like they're in the round till they're not.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah,
it's, small little micro decisions there. Instead of getting your teammate up, you went for the basically the one shot, the one bang, and you missed it. You got killed by Crimsons, and in the end, that cost you. It cost your teammate who's down, and then it leaves your last teammate in a 3v1. And how do you win that? It's very difficult.
A couple of members of Obey dropping up. Stop my control. It's going to go in the favor of EU's Finest. This is maybe looking a little bit more like the kill feed we maybe expected.
Yeah, Obey just not really finding their footing just yet.
Yeah.
EU's Finest made a couple of adjustments to how they play this opening. They're not realistically throwing as much as they were at Obey last time. Obey were managing to fight with them, to slay with them in this middle area. This time around, EU's Finest opting for more of a neutral hill push. They're basically baiting the top fight and rotating very, very quickly down here and just getting full control over B. Obey don't know how to push back on this.
It is a hard one to get back a hold of over towards B. Just waiting on the team setting up. We can see 4 members heading over towards top bunker. But which way do they go? They could make an easy transition over towards B quite quickly. Just trying to make a decision. Scout out where EU's Finest are. But as quickly as Obey can rotate to B, EU's Finest can do the exact same thing. So we will see a big fight going on. It looks as if they are getting ready to make a move over towards B. EU's Finest setting up to try and counteract that. Here it goes. Flash going in towards B. Crimsons are flashed up. One of the biggest weapons on EU's Finest has to back on down. Saki is going to drop and break it. Doing well to get rid of Hydron as well. Kills just about being traded between these two, but Crimsons is getting out and getting free damage down as well. In the end, he's just left completely untouched, and it's easy enough to clean up there, but it's still a fight going on. Breaker and Co trying to push forward if they can. It looks as if they are going to get a hold of B here, unless Crimsons can do something crazy. Not quite. TJ does go down, but as does Crimsons, and eventually Obey Alliance will get hold of B, but I don't think it'll be enough time here for it. 208 to 118. They're going to have to go for the 3 cap here.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely need the decap on C, but honestly, that's the least of their worries right about now. Breaker's going to fall here. J-Rage is out as well, and honestly, this is just EU's Finest dominating. They're looking very, very strong right now. I expect this to be 3-0 very, very shortly, barring a miracle from Saki.
It was looking like a threat of Obey getting a hold of B there, but ultimately, when you're waiting, when you're trying to make the decision of where you want to go, it's all but a little bit too late. The resources were stretched across the map, unfortunately, as they had to go for the 3 cap, so the B middle hill did not get secured, and ultimately EU's Finest to grind that one out fairly easily. And honestly, it's for me looking like EU's Finest are, yes, okay, they're outplaying, they're out-rotating, but the gunfights, they're just winning all the gunfights, which ultimately is what it comes down to, doesn't it? You know,
it definitely does. So since last time these two teams have played, there's actually been an update to the Nasher, and this has had some kind of degree of controversy from the community. Some absolutely love it, and I think the more people are playing, the more people are actually liking it. But you know, it's only been a week, so teams having to adapt very, very quickly here, and we'll talk about it more after the game, I think. But remind me to go back to that point, because I think that's playing a key difference right now.
Weapons in play now anyway. Let's see if they do make any difference for either one of these teams. The Ambars apiece. It's going to be EU's Finest in the first couple of kills. No surprises there. TJ will find Crimsons though before, well, Crimsons finds TJ, so that one's been traded across the board. But B does belong to Obey Alliance for the first time at the beginning of a round for quite some time. It's mostly been EU's Finest just getting that initial control and grinding out the round. They may just get it back though. Crazy's going to find a kill on his J-Rage. Hydron's going to walk into the Nash or a Breaker though. Right now though is EU's Finest, but the push is going to have to come through from Obey. Breaker goes in, baits out some shots and just about survives. Here comes the cleanup crew though. Crazed and Co trying to get something done. You can't let that happen. Breaker Crazed drops down far too easily. Will get dropped by Crimsons. It does not matter. Crazed ain't missing bullets right now, and beat belongs to EU's Finest after a good start by Obey, has to be said, but EU's Finest come in and sweep through far too easily. Yeah,
they just got trapped in there. We saw Saki go out. Perhaps didn't need to die there when he tried to clean up that down. In the end, EU's Finest snowballing kills once again. It's what they do well. It's what they do best. You can have a look. through the scoreline. It's now 3-7 there for TJ, not having the best of games. Breaker 5-7. Jay, I mean, let's just jump onto the side of E's finest. 15-2 Crazed already. 14-4. The kills are adding up, right? I mean,
out of Phelpsy.
Yeah, I'm going through them. We could probably just have a look at the old leaderboard for a second there.
I'll tell you what we do. I mean, it's one of these things. As said, it's all very well if OB Alliance maybe make a couple of mistakes here and there on rotation and decision making. When it comes down to these raw gunfights, as you said, you know, the update could have a play into that, of course. But these gunfights coming through, sticks and stones, gears of boards, they're just not winning these crucial. I don't want to say simple battles because obviously you're going up against 5 of the best players on the planet at times, and but you aren't winning basic gunfights, and that's ultimately what it can come down to. You know, I don't want to talk too much and big up KDA, etc., but the fact that they're just being completely outslayed is making things very difficult to do anything else. Yeah,
100%, and that shot selection from EU's finest playing a big part here as well. With this new update, it does pay dividends to make sure you're shooting the same person as your teammates. You can chip down a little bit easier. You can definitely find those 2 shots with 2 players a little bit easier. But on the other side, getting that 1 shot, you have to put yourself so close to your opponent that it's just it's a very risky task, basically.
Well, there's actually potential for OB Alliance here. They're going to get C and B. The tick down's going to come through for EU's finest if they can keep a hold of it. Big fight coming in, though. Flashes and the reinforcements coming in from EU's finest. Crimson's going to find J-Rage. TJ does find Jack, though. But they have to be quick here. OB Alliance, there's going to be somebody coming in behind. That's going to be Hydro. Now you're going to just clean up shop. They will get a hold of it. 5 seconds is all it's going to take now. OB Alliance will lose another round, and they are leaking them right now. 4-0 to EU's finest. And we found ourselves here very, very quickly. I said it could go one of 2 ways. It's either going to be a very, very close OB Alliance, not victory, but they'll push them all the way. Oh, EU's finest might just walk through them. It's looking like the latter at the moment for him.
Really is. And now it's up to Obey, basically, to change the tide here. Crimson's going to be looking to hover this barracks drop. See what he's going to be placing. Obviously, we've got those 2 M bars opposite each other. That was something we haven't really talked about, is the weapon placement so far.
Yeah, I think OB Alliance at 3-0 down maybe should have went with something a little bit more.
I would agree with you.
You know, mix it up a little bit. Obviously, something's not working on a level playing field. You know, you're flogging a dead horse. At times, you need to maybe make an adjustment across the map, but ultimately choosing to go with the exact same setup as EU's fans.
And last time, we saw a lot of torp bows in use. We actually saw the sniper come in use here. It was sniper versus M-bar at one point. So definitely different weapons being selected by the teams this time around. Perhaps opting for something a little bit more neutral. Nothing in the middle yet either.
Well, OB Alliance may not get a chance to put anything in the middle here at this rate. EU's finest looking to close this one out in the minimum rounds required. Phelpsy, though, is going to get pushed here, so it's looking like an F push out of OB Alliance. Phelpsy does have to back on down, but he's done well to survive, reading the situation well. OB Alliance will get control of the up top side here. Just ready to make a push. No more flashes in play, but they go anyway. Here goes Phelpsy. What can he do? Not find anything. He will go down. Crazed is there, though, with the MR. Finds one, as does Crimson's with the pistol. TJ's the only one to answer back here. It's a 2v2 momentarily, as this gunfight will be really important in the grand scheme of things. If OB Alliance want to try and get back into this one, Saki nowhere near. And it's just so easy for a EU's finest, isn't it? It never looks like they're going to lose a team fight. It never looks like it.
Obey, they seem to have that control there, but in the end, that was EU's finest just relinquishing it because they knew they had the cross, they knew they had that M bar from Crazed, looking down the sidelines, making sure that anyone who's leaving that bunker basically came in damaged, completely damaged. Very, very easy to clean up for EU's finest. Their positioning was fantastic there. Don't say it enough. The defensive plays are also as good as the aggressive plays from EU's finest. And it's nice to be able to highlight something a little bit different on stream this time around.
Well, of course, we have changed the points thrown out. E is up top of the bunker and instead of B down low. D and F have changed positions as well on the home side, so OB Alliance trying to get something done with this different setup. Crazed is flashed up, and that will mean a decap at E. But the thing is, if you are OB Alliance, you need to start moving pretty quickly. EU's finest now. Not going to be too far away, and they're not going to be too far away from that 1-cap win potential. Flash is coming out, though, as it will have to start making a move. It's a good gunfight win by TJ. Can't find the second. The rest of the team, though, are they there to help? No, they're all absolutely dead as a doorknob. Crazy stuff out of Hydro. Trying to get the kills up top. EU's finest just saying no once again.
Yep, fantastic. They read the push. They saw Obey come in. They were about to make the push through flashbangs. EU's finest said, we're not getting flashed up, we're going to run at you instead. And all they did was just run forward. They pushed forward, got out of the range of that flash, and just fought them on an even playing field, which is fantastic. Just reactionary play there from EU's finest. In the end, it gets them a lot of kills. Hydron once again leading the way, 26-4. Fantastic job from him, and fantastic job from EU's finest as they look to lock in this first map.
Hydron finds another, as does Phelpsy. Do they continue this streak? Breaker's the only one to answer back, and albeit only with one, that is as clean as you would like to see if you are an EU's finest fan. 5-0 against Obey Alliance. They made that look like a public game.
That they did. And we said, you know, is it going to be another close one? Bunker, perhaps the one that will go over to Obey, but in the end, EU's finest. They come back. They did exactly what they did to Obey last time 2 bunkers were picked in a row, and the stat line just, well, it says it all, doesn't it? 28-4, and Obey not really in a good spot.
Yeah, that's as rough as what we seen last week between Rated R and Regal.
Yep.
I think they just weren't. I don't want to say they weren't at the races. EU's finest just outslayed them completely.
Yep.
And when they did need when EU's finest did need to make the smart plays in terms of sending people away to get a hold of hills to make sure they stand around, they did them perfectly. Obey Alliance maybe overstayed their welcome in the first round, but that was really the only round where I felt as if they were allowed to make a mistake, because the rest of the time it was just EU's finest winning gunfights. That was clean.
They were respawning most of the time, to be honest with you. There's the stat line so far: Bunker 5-0, very, very quick. If it goes like this, we're going to have a very quick Monday.
Again, you'll be home well in time. You'll see more than you'll be home for Emmerdale at this rate.
That's it, isn't it? And then Love Island.
And then Love Island.
Oh, perfect.
Well, if Love Island's on tonight,
I have no idea.
Besides the point.
So,
yeah, I think that's just one of those. If you're Obey Alliance, you just have to chalk it up.
Yeah, put it in the bag, get rid of it. Yeah. I kind of feel like there may be bigger underlying issues here, and I mentioned it a little bit. I said I'll come back to it after the game, and that's the not the title update, but the shotgun update, the update that we saw come in last Tuesday. Basically, what has happened, the damage that you can do if you're just outside gib range has been reduced a little bit. So anyone going in and just missing that gib, that one shot gib, will only do 85% damage now, which is a big decrease from the 99 that we used to be able to get put down. And then at the long range, there's a much further distance that you can do damage with, basically, with a Nasher at the kind of minimum end. So if you're all shooting at someone, it's so easy to be able to get these 2-shot downs. But for a team like Obey, who, you know, historically have played a little bit more in your face, trying to get those one-shot kills, it's kind of a bit of a nerf for them, actually. It's a little bit more difficult for them to now get in the face of EU's finest, get a quick kill, and get out. You've got to adjust to the new gib range for oh, excuse me. I don't know what happened there. My throat just decided to give in.
I didn't even notice. You could have said nothing.
Yeah, I could have, couldn't I? So where was I? Oh, you've put me off now.
You've put you off.
I put myself off. We were at the Jesus. We were at the gib range. That's where we were.
Yeah, that's it.
They brought the gib range in as well. So basically, you've got to be in a bit of a closer situation. It's a little bit more difficult to gauge, and if you do miss it, you're at a bit of a worse spot than you were before.
So basically, the lethal range is being reduced.
Yeah, exactly.
But the total range is being extended, but the lethal range being reduced.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
I simplified it for all the simple-minded people like me.
For EU's finest, if you know the 2 or 3 shooting an Obey Alliance member, still going to get those down, still going to get those gibs, and they often play for those 2-shot kills rather than 3-shot.
How often we talk about their team shooting, their team Lancer fire being great. Now they can do that with the Nasher as well. I mean, it's just it's a bonus for you.
And there's much less opportunity for the opposing team just to kind of run in there and get a quick kill on them. So yeah, it is a nerf, I think, to Obey. It is definitely a buff to EU's finest and those that can kind of shoot around one another. So we'll see how it plays out in the next map. But for me, it could be more of an underlying situation for Obey than just getting outslayed in one map.
I mean, that's maybe something it's clearly something they need to look at there now and try and practice as time goes on. Mexico is creeping up. We only have 2 more weeks of Pro League now, and you know, this is enough time to get sorted. You know, these updates are coming. It's not like it's coming a couple of days beforehand. You know, this does happen from time to time, but this is plenty of time to get practice under. You know, if you have a bad week here, EU's finest not a bad practice team to go up against, are they? You know, you can. I don't want to say learn something, but you know, losing is learning to a point as well. And you can figure out how it works best against the best players. Because going into pubs, it's just not quite the same. Is it? You know, you don't know who you're going up against. You don't know how good these people are. So you might feel confident with it in a general setting, but going up against the best in the world, it's very, very difficult to see.
Yeah, it is very difficult. And honestly, if you're not that confident on the new patch already, it's better to go against the team that you're probably going to lose against anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Because then you go into the next 2 games having a bit more time to practice, getting a bit more confident on it, and then kind of maybe going in against Regal Reserve and Rated R and maybe winning some series. So it's not all doom and gloom for Obey just yet.
Not quite. However, they may still come back. Who knows?
That's true.
I mean, based on what we've seen there, I don't see it happening because of the fashion that EU's Finest won that one. Yeah. It was fairly dominant. Well, it was just dominant. I don't want to say fairly. I mean, that would be unkind to EU's Finest. I think just across the board, just a better team. As said, when they did need to rotate, etc., it was mainly in round number 1 where Hydron extended over towards A, then right back round, and then got the pinch set up. Yeah. Then they can do that. Yep. They didn't need to do that the majority of the time because they were basically playing deathmatch. And when it is like that, and you are dominating the team in such that in that fashion, it's very, very difficult to even analyze to a point because, well, what do you say other than being gunned? I mean, you can't really go past that. So if you go to Icebound, the same thing happens. I would very much expect a 5-0 once again. Maybe they'll sneak around, but the way that Obey are playing against how EU's Finest are playing right now, that ain't gonna happen.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there maybe be some slight changes to how the teams end up engaging at the start of the fight in Icebound, trying to fight for that trading post a little bit more. You may see some closer engages.
Post office, yeah.
Post office, if you want to call it that, you can call it post office. Trading post in the official terms, though. Got to look at the rule book.
What about the northern terms?
The northern terms.
Post office.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, it's just a post office.
It's the post office. We don't call it anything different. No,
you're right.
We're not that strange. No. I'm trying to think. I'll try and come up with something.
There'll be some. Definitely so.
You're gonna have to speak well, I think.
It's not happening.
No.
Let's think about this.
You know what? Maybe we should be in game.
Yeah, when we got a break, we can think about it then.
Maybe.
Descending
into madness. I do apologize. We can see the teams are loading in the game. Icebound though, I honestly, I don't see it going any other direction. Yeah.
I don't particularly. I mean, it'd be interesting to see Obey maybe try and play something a little bit heavier down in the middle. Yeah. That's one thing that could maybe draw something out of EU's Finest a little bit more, but quite honestly, if you're getting outslain and then you put something down in the middle where you're getting outslain, you're just giving them more power, right? More.
Yeah, that's the thing.
More fire.
We were speaking about that in the game previously about how we would have liked to see maybe a mid drop coming through to maybe try and mix it up, but if you're losing those fights, then really that's not something you want to do. It's sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
And in this matchup, it was actually EU's Finest, or in this quarter, it's been EU's Finest that have kind of been leading the way with those mid placements, with those stranger placements. We've seen snipers down in the middle on District. We've seen a few other things go down, so it is EU's Finest usually leading that. In terms of how they've been playing on Icebound specifically, though, one time they played it each, EU's Finest got that 100% win record, but it was pretty close. For 56%, that's a 5-4, right? So, EU's Finest not completely unbeatable on this map. We'll see, though. Obey, obviously not having as great a win percentage, 36%.
It's not looking great, it has to be said, but we are loading into this one. We are pretty much ready to go. Which way does this one go at? I mean, it's hard to go up against EU's Finest at this point with how they played in that previous game. They won't be on the Swarm side. Obey Alliance on the Cog, of course. And can Obey answer back here somewhat? Just give me a couple of rounds, Obey. Give me something to shout about. Because right now EU's Finest are putting you to the sword. And EU's Finest are going to get complete control of post office, trading post, whatever you want to call it. They are going to lose B though.
Obey, they tried something a little cheeky here, but in the end they didn't get down quite quick enough. Jerry's trying to fight for his life there. And it was an interesting play there from Obey. Yeah, they actually sent 4. So they had one person down at the bottom, basically underneath the trading post, and then 3 down. Well, 1 up in the tower, 2 down at the ring, trying to go for that quick cap. But in the end, I'm not sure it's going to pay out for them. They're going to potentially lose this one very, very quick. Ashen is trying to do his best, gets a break in. Domination ticking once again. Let's jump over to the A-hill. See what we can do over here. J Rage throws his smoke.
You gotta go.
In a very strange direction. I think trying to just block a little bit of damage there coming in from the B hill. But realistically, you need to be with your team there, mate. You need to be trying to get that decap. EU's Finest coming in 48 seconds. They've opened up as they left on bunker and now minus points on the side of Obey already. Not looking good, really.
No, not looking good at all. Honestly, if EU's Finest lose around here, I'd be quite surprised. That's the way it's going, unfortunately, for Obey Alliance this week. Last week, they were there. They were with them the majority of the way through. A couple of mistakes here and there. You lose the game 2-0. It can happen. Right now, I just have nothing good to say, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's no spark there, is there? There's nothing really. I mean,
you know, I like to try and be level with people and say, you know, they're playing up against EU's finest. It's very, very difficult, but they're just not winning gunfights. And if you're not winning gunfights, you're not going to win the game.
And this time, the change of strategy. They tried to go for something a little bit different, a little bit unorthodox. Didn't work out, so now TJ back in this trading post. This is actually the position where, you know, he has made his name for himself in this pro league, and it looks like once again going back to basics, maybe trying to help his team out a little bit more. He did jam his shotgun, not exactly ideal. Cray's trying to get the one shot now, two shot, does get him in the end, and TJ fluffing that shot might have just cost the trading post for his team now. Breaker falls, and EU's finest. They looked like it was going to be a fight lost for them, but in the end, Craze comes in, clutch king himself.
Would you expect anything else out of him? Been shot in the back by TJ while helping out his teammate. He spins around, gives him one. A little back hit, gives him the second as well. It's very, very simple. What can you do when they're doing this to you? It's
you don't miss the shot. Is
well,
what you,
I mean,
you know, that's the only thing you can do.
Maybe that's like that situation when we talked about maybe not being so used to this update as much as the EU's finest star. TJ won them first two gunfights really nicely, and then just didn't push in for that third and final shot.
You can blame gib distance all you want, but in the end, if you're not hitting any pellets whatsoever,
well, not very true.
Don't make much difference.
I was trying to
give him a like, and to be fair, you know, he did get a very good spread on the first shot.
Yeah,
just need a little bit more there.
He did well. Pick up the first two. Oh my word! Look at the team fire coming in from EU's finest. As per usual, it's just lines across the map. They just carve out Obey Alliance as best they can. TJ in trading post here, and yes, okay, can help lay down fire, but the rest of your team are dead right now, and there's not much else you can really do from this position other than just put down this fire, try and force them away, and wait for the rest of the team to respawn, which they've been doing quite often already. Break it down to 2, as is J-Rage. Keep an eye on that one as we keep going further. Ashens is going to drop here as well, but Beat looking to be captured here by Obey Alliance. They're threatening it. Here comes the storm once again, so that's going to freeze up that ice, although it hasn't been too much of a problem so far. They are going to force Beat over towards themselves, but where are EU's finest here? They are actually just sitting there watching Beat. They're going to try and retake up. TJ going to get pushed out. That's a big shot going to go into him as well. Will be mostly weak, I can see. Down to 1% health, and he will just about get away.
There's a good flashbang there coming in from Obey just to save TJ.
But he has now been decapped though. EU's finest looking to get a hold of this one. They push and pull between each other in the middle of the map. But the war of attrition seems to be going towards EU's finest. J-Rich and Ashens and TJ all combining here though. Kills going in their direction momentarily for the first time probably in this game. Phelpsy though, can he clean up shop here? J-Rage is already done. Saki is there, probably needs to back him down, going to get flanked by Jack as well. Saki in a dangerous spot. We talked about those long range combined shots with the Nasha causing issues across the board. Crazed trades one away with TJ and Saki here. But ultimately, it is actually Obey Alliance who are in the driver's seat here eventually. After a flurry of kills, going towards EU's finest in the end. But Obey definitely growing into it feels a little bit more now for.
A little bit, warming up perhaps. We've seen some good play from them. We've seen some mistakes, but less though than we saw in Bunker, that's for sure. Ashen's trying to get that kill, isn't able to clean anything up just yet. Does get taken out by Crimson's. Great shot by him. Breaker now in mid-ice, just trying to find Crimson's. In the end, doesn't get anything. Crimson's gets another one. J-Rage is going to fall now. Breaker with that meat shield though, just holding ground, holding that B-hill, trying to get something locked in for his team, but a good decap there, attempt from Phelps. He just puts his toe in the ring, stops that capture coming through.
Yeah, that's the thing for Obey Alliance. They need B and they need it quickly. They need to go. Crimson's causing issues where he can. He's going to clean up one, clean up two. TJ's dropped. Fantastic work. Can he find the third as well? I don't think it's even going to matter if Obey Alliance get a hold of the second one. One will do for EU's finest. This is a swarm win condition. This is a swarm win once again. A lot closer from Obey Alliance. But no cigar, unfortunately. 2-0. Now to them. One of the longer rounds, 4 minutes and 9 seconds, but
very long round.
I mean, these mid fights, it feels like they're getting there, but just that final kill isn't going in their direction, isn't it? It's just the trades are mostly going towards the EU's finest.
Yeah, yes. Sometimes it's that final kill. Sometimes it's they're losing someone very, very early. We saw Obey there. They lost TJ right early in the fight. He tried to get a cap behind EU's finest, which wasn't the worst of ideas, right? Trying to lock in a cap before you go in for that 3v2. Problem was, he was in a situation where when EU's finest turned round on him, he had no cover, he had no ability to get out of there, and ended up falling on his own. And realistically, in a spot that he didn't need to fall in. Perhaps next time, a bit closer over towards the wall on the right-hand side, may have been able to just dodge a few more of those bullets by getting himself into cover, and maybe then he's alive for that next fight. And you know, 7 seconds on the clock, that would have done a lot for the team, and maybe would have even, you know, got a round on the board for Obey.
Potentially.
Oh, Embar going down there. That's something.
That was from Obey as well.
Something different. We asked for a big placement.
Oh.
We're getting it.
Well, everybody on Obey Alliance has just died over towards trading post as EU's fighting to send every single one of their resources over towards the mid-map. It's going to be an easy break here for EU's finest over towards B. The push has to come in through C, and that's the thing when you win all the gunfights in the middle of the map, and if you're Obey Alliance and you don't answer back, rounds like that happen. 36 seconds is all it took. EU's finest send one back towards B, they win one gunfight there, they win multiple in trading post, and suddenly you find yourself in a position to win the round in that amount of time. Crimson's 13-1 there.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that M-bar placement, yes, it's a big weapon, yes, it's in the middle, but quite honestly, where it's placed, it's the only placement on the map that it's so easy to shut down. You know, it's basically not a fight that EU's finest need to take, because the person that is going to be over there at the neutral hill anyway, at the lock anyway, could just shoot the ice out from underneath it. And in the end, that basically nullifies that fight at the beginning. You've changed nothing on the map because EU's finest could shoot it down with one person. Even if you send all 4 there, you're not getting that M-bar out. Let's have a look on board now with EU's finest. We'll jump on board as Cray's going to be supporting here. Good flashbang shot grenade, coming in. Yeah,
oh, it's going to drop a couple of people. Jack Fex and Cray's combine them well. It's the same old story for it.
And he just placed that just perfectly, basically, to allow his team to get in there, give them a little route through, but block down that Obey Alliance entrance. That's a perfect placement. It's exactly what you'd want from it.
Sonky is going to get traded by Crimson's. The only real reason that EU's finest weren't able to get a hold of B was because Sonky was there trying to cut the cross, but in the end, they will get that, and Obey Alliance have to fight back. That's Ashen's absolutely flying at 2 members of EU's finest. We'll love to see the aggressive plays. Hasn't worked out so far for him, but he will get one and force EU's finest away. It was a good flash and push. He's going to keep on going, just maybe a little bit too overzealous there this time round. He's going to keep going, and we'll just get that one cleaned up eventually as Hydron was down and ready for the taking. They will get hold of B here as well. Obey Alliance, a better start to the round ultimately, although they did lose that first initiation, of course.
Embar still in the field again. As soon as anyone looks at going to take it, the other team just shoot the ice out from underneath it.
It's a bit of a pointless spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
If you're trying to make a strategy around it, it is very... Because you have to wait for the ice to freeze up.
Just put yourself at a disadvantage on your home side.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have any weapon place for it. The other team gets a weapon. It's a questionable one, that's for sure.
Push coming in over towards C. Saki is going to find one, and the second as well. He's going to find Crimson. He's done very, very well to find 3 there. Has to be said, and he will shut this down from EU's finest. Saki will fall eventually, but the damage was already done. EU's finest now backs against the walls a little bit here. They made the push, and that's going to be Craze dropping down low as well. Didn't think they were going to win around here, Obey Alliance, with how this one started, but...
And now you've got potential to get this Ember, because this is where the Storm comes in.
Yeah, men down as well.
Yep, the Storm will freeze up that ice and prevents it from being shot out against you. That's where you can see Crimson sat over there. He knows that was a risk, essentially. Just holding that angle, just making sure no one can pick up the Ember. In the end, Obey, they respect that. They don't get any deaths that didn't need to happen in the end. And now, 30 seconds on the clock. Ashen's going to try and defend. Great shot grenade on B Hill just to push this back a little bit, but behind them.
That's the problem.
This is the problem.
EU's finest. I don't want to say they fake over towards B, but they split 3 and 2. They win their gunfights at C, and suddenly, they are going to decap B as well. So Obey Lions get nothing on the board here. This works out for EU's finest because the 1 cap may have been close enough for Obey to try and win that one. Christ is going to drop down eventually after being downed, but in the meantime, Sarkit needs to do something there. The shots, I mean, they look good to me, but not quite landing in the end. Phelpsy.
And that's the flip there.
Yeah.
They've done just enough to delay Obey. They lock it in just at the right time, and now they will win in about 20 seconds. Look at the kill feed as well.
Yeah.
Phelpsy just waiting. Gets one, tries to get the second, isn't able to. The Crimson's there to clean up behind him. Swarm will still win in about 20 seconds or so. Cog now flipping over, but the elimination's going to come through. That's going to be it. Obey Alliance just like that. They're out. 4-0 now. EU's Finest, though, playing very, very well. This might be a 10-0, as you said. It's been a quick one, that's for sure. 17-3. Crimson's, again, you know, every time I look at the scoreboard, I'm surprised to see him up there with such a fantastic scoreline.
I mean, last season it was crazed every single game, but this
crazed is there as well.
I mean, yeah, they're all. I mean, Jack is.
You know what it is? It's ping
as
difference. Well. Crimson's on that 10 lower ping, able to get more kills.
Well, that's it.
I don't think we'll go down that route, but
don't.
No, I think I think they have been playing fantastically, and honestly, Crimson's has been my MVP so far, at least of the winter quarter so far.
I just want to see them bring it in Mexico.
Oh, I agree.
Just want to see
some good talent going to Mexico though. Reciprocity looking very, very good, and Hive as well. They played with their coach and a substitute and still won. So a fearsome roster, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of fearsome rosters, this one of the EU's Finest are walking through Obey Alliance right now. This might be the quickest game we've ever had in the EU Pro League. I'm not going to lie to you. This one could be over very, very quickly. Jack will find 2, albeit one of his teammates, TJ. This is where his bread is buttered in training post, but his bread has been buttered. He's dead. Jack finds him in the end, and
you could have said his letter's been licked.
His letter has been licked. Is that even a saying?
It's a post office, isn't it? I mean,
well, I know it's a post office, but what is that? Bread has been buttered.
It means he's been posted. He's off. See you later.
All right, then. I'll tell you what, you can use that at some point. I'll let you.
Oh, cheers. Thanks.
You're
if
welcome.
I remember. I'm probably never going to, but...
You can keep that one.
Thanks. That's an Elliot special.
His letter has been licked. I can imagine Elliot saying that. Hilariously.
Oh,
is Elliot live?
I think so. I think so.
Have you got your glasses back yet?
Nah.
Of course you haven't.
Of course I haven't.
I think that was week 1 of the Pro League. You sent them away.
Previous one.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Final push from Obey Alliance, you feel. It could be over very, very quickly. TJ and Cole get going. Gotta do something here. The kills, 50-50 so far. A couple are being traded by Obey Alliance. EU's Finest trying to get this one done, though. Jack will find 1 and find 2. And he will clean this one up. They set their sights on D. The Lone Ranger of Saki. We highlighted him as the player to potentially watch. He will find 1 on the Jackfax, and he might just shut this push down, but maybe only momentarily. Is he going to extend over towards F? Not quite. EU's Finest choose not to go any further.
Yeah, they go back to the neutral. They know they don't need to push across the D, right? They've got such a massive point lead. We can look at F if you want. J Rage is over here.
Yeah, they are going to get a hold of that. But then as soon as EU's Finest see that happening, a couple of gunfights go their way, and suddenly they'll be pushing over towards D. Ashen's now being secluded up top here. He's going to find 1. Nicely done on the Phelpsy. Go on, try and find the second, trying to get something done. Not going to happen. Obey Alliance close to the domination, but the kills coming in for EU's Finest here. They'll get a hold of the neutral hill at E. They will extend over towards D. I can imagine somebody's already headed back towards F as well.
Yep, Obey though, they have they're trying to rotate around,
in this.
Trying to get behind, trying to get some control of E in the end. Nothing really. They are going to go back and fight for the D hill behind us.
I think they're going to be allowed to get it as well as EU's Finest. Rotate back round towards F. But look at the score in the top left corner. Obey Alliance, it's too late to really do anything now. You need a wipe or you need a domination. Neither one of those will come through, just domination in complete and perfect form from EU's Finest. 5-0, 5-0. We said last week was a very, very close game. We could maybe see the same this week. And, well, I mean, we've seen the same as we've seen last week, but only in a different game. This is EU's Finest at their absolute best. 5-0, 5-0 as said against Obey Alliance. And, I mean, look at the scoreboard. Just a complete dominating win. Outslayed them across the board. Out-rotated them when they need to. A perfect game from EU's Finest. You couldn't pick a hole in it, in all fairness. Not
at all. You know, it's you ask, and there wasn't one. There wasn't a hole in their game. No. They were fantastic across the board. Every player just putting up a good scoreline. Every player doing their part. You saw Craze at the end rotating very, very quickly. And in the end, that's the EU's Finest that come to play. Very, very good performance.
I mean, what do you say to Obey in that situation?
Don't put an M-bar down on the ice field. That's one thing.
I mean, but honestly, I think they could have put 3 M-bars down on their home hill, and I don't think it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
No, they got outclassed today. And it's sad to say because they had such a good performance last week, but you know, this was their time for redemption. This was the time that they could have come back and made a name for themselves. Didn't do it. In the end, EU's Finest did what they did best.
Yeah, EU's Finest clearly adapting to the update very, very quickly. We're going to go for a short break, and we will bring Rated R against Regal Reserve. Please, somebody, just start sharing some rounds, hopefully in game number 2. We'll see you then.